Welcome to the Get Fit Guys, quick and dirty tips to slim down and shape up. My name is Ben Greenfield. I'm the Get Fit Guy, and in today's episode, you're going to learn whether you should even try to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. Now, back when I was a bodybuilder, it was pretty common knowledge that one of the best ways to get a nice body, especially if the goal was the ultimate combination of lean muscle mass and low body fat, was to do something called a bulking phase of muscle gain, followed by a stripping or a cutting phase of fat loss leading up to your show, in which one basically poses on stage in scant clothing while performing a highly entertaining flex-off against fellow competitors. Well, new exercise science research suggests that my approach, and the approach of many other professional fitness enthusiasts and workout, open quote, gurus, close quote, could be flawed when it comes to building muscle and losing fat. And you're about to discover exactly what that new research says and get practical tips based on this new science that'll help you build muscle and lose fat, whether you're pursuing bodybuilder-esque bulk or you just want to get a lean body. Well, this latest study on losing fat and gaining muscle compared the ability to gain muscle in response to a protein-dense meal in 3 different populations. People who were normal healthy weight, people who were overweight, and then people who were obese. Now, after they consumed 170 grams of pork, which is a 36-gram protein and 3-gram fat meal, the subjects were then studied by the researchers to see what their skeletal muscle anabolic signaling was, their amino acid transport activity, and something called myofibrillar protein synthesis. And all 3 of those are pretty gold standard markers of the ability to gain muscle. What'd they find? Well, it turns out the group who was overweight had a much lower ability to be able to generate the activity necessary for muscle building in response to a protein-rich meal. And the group who was obese fared even worse. And the researchers hypothesized that increased fat mass altered these anabolic muscle-building signals, reduced muscle sensitivity to food ingestion, and even caused greater amounts of something called mammalian target of rapamycin, also known as the mTOR protein, which is the protein that inhibits your ability to be able to build muscle. Just Google mTOR knockout mice or mTOR knockout bulls to see what happens to animals when the opposite occurs and mTOR is actually allowed to get out of control. It's kind of freaky. So what exactly does this mean for you? It means if you want to gain muscle as efficiently as possible, you have to first get lean. In other words, rather than gaining muscle, then losing fat, you should lose fat and then gain muscle. You should cut first and then bulk or get strong or put on lean muscle or whatever your muscular goals are after that. So let's delve into some practical ways that you can actually lose fat and gain muscle. So step 1 is to have what's called a fat loss phase. Let's say you want to look as good as possible for swimsuit season, which would generally be about May through September-ish. In a case like this, in the fall, you would begin doing intense fat loss, specifically by utilizing some of my favorite strategies like morning fasted workouts in your body's fat burning zone, calorie restriction, and lower meal frequency with slightly less protein, like 20 to 30% of your total dietary intake, preferably using strategies like calorie cycling, in which you restrict calories for several days of the week, then have a couple days of the week during which you eat to caloric balance. There's a great episode on that by the Nutrition Diva, and I'll link to it. Just go to quickanddirtytips.com and find this episode number 306. Cold thermogenesis is another strategy, like cold showers, cold baths, keeping your home and office cool, using cooling vests and cooling garments. I have an episode on cold thermogenesis I'll link to in the show notes as well. Do higher rep, lower weight training with less of a focus on strength and mass and more of a focus on metabolic conditioning and feeling the burn. And use research-proven fat-burning and blood-controlling supplements, blood sugar-controlling supplements like caffeine, green tea extract, cayenne, bitter melon extract, cinnamon, and even ketones. Okay, so we've got our fat loss phase done, and you want to follow this with a muscle gain phase. And this you would begin around early to mid-spring, like March or April, with strategies like lifting heavy weights, using full body exercises. We're talking squats, deadlifts, presses, weighted pulls, and power lifts like the clean and push press. You can even use strongman style training like tire flips, keg carries, heavy rock carries, or car pushes. Eat slightly extra calories, at least to calorie balance or more. Eat more frequently. Eat slightly more protein, like 25 to 40% of your daily food intake, and limit the number of fasted workouts that you do. Use research-proven muscle-building supplements, things like fish oil, amino acids, colostrum, creatine, beta-alanine, HMB, and ATP. And get more rest and recovery by utilizing harder, heavier workouts with longer rest periods and less cardio, with a focus on brief, high-intensity cardio sessions rather than longer aerobic or fasted fat-burning sessions. And that's it. Once you've lost fat and gained muscle, you can simply repeat this scenario each year, gradually lowering body fat percentage and increasing muscle as time progresses. And if you want to research this method even more, look up the term periodization, which refers to breaking your training year into periods rather than training the same way all year long. Well, if you want more, I've got a couple other episodes devoted to the nitty-gritty science of gaining muscle and losing fat. One is called How to Lose Fat and Gain Muscle at the Same Time. Another one is called What's the Best Way to Build Muscle and Lose Fat. So if you want to delve into those topics, again, go to quickanddirtytips.com and just find the show notes for this episode number 306. And if you have questions, comments, or feedback about whether you should lose fat and build muscle at the same time, then join the conversation over at facebook.com/getfitguy. And until next time, I'm Ben Greenfield, the Get Fit Guy, asking you, what are you waiting for? Go get fit.